Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? This is Eric from Faster Humans. So I am waiting for my guest to jump in. Hopefully, we will have it in a few seconds. So just wanted to, remind you guys that this live broadcast is becoming is something that I like to do in at least almost in a weekly basis, at least twice, three times a week. And so it's awesome to be able to connect with other people that are in the lifestyle of health, lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, nutrition, fitness, culture, and just to bring you something different every single time. I want to say, thank you for this person because, when it comes down to connect and building relationships, it's about the communication process, the idea of bringing something different to the table every single day. So I continue learning every single day, continue understanding this. So if you're joining us, I'm looking forward for everyone to jump in so I can be able to invite them and for them to join us. So I'm waiting for Coach James, and there is. Hold on a second. Let me send that request to him. So waiting for Coach James to join the live broadcast here at Fast Human. Coach James, how you
Ah,
doing, my friend?
my guy. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. Can you hear me? I got these earbuds on.
Yes, yes. Oh,
All right, cool.
you got the fancy ones.
I I got the ones that match this phone, so you know how it is, man. You get an
Yeah.
iPhone, you get the iPod, you get a Samsung, you get the Samsung Buds,
Yes,
So
yes. Well,
trust me, I've tried everything.
this is Coach James. Introduce yourself. Tell us where you are right now.
Tell us where I am. Right now, I'm in this beautiful country called the United States of America, despite all its craziness, right? Hanging out
Yes,
here in the Bay Area. Been doing fitness for many, many moons, at least 15 years at this point.
yes,
So,
yes.
but I can get into the backstory now or later. It's totally up to you. But right now, just hanging out in I like to call wherever you are, I always call it God's country, right?
Yeah,
So because I want people to feel like wherever they are, it's all kind of part of this divine order. So it's not just the U.S. It's not just this place or that place. It's wherever you are.
yeah.
So that's kind of look at it.
So you one of the things when I suggested to come in and actually join to the live broadcast, I know you say, wait a second, 1 p.m. my time, 10 a.m.
Hey, listen, I was gonna do it because I saw it said 10 p.m. and it said Eastern Standard, I think, and I was like, oh no, or 10 a.m. I was like, let me make sure this guy. Look, I was gonna be there at 7, right? Which would have been fine because I'd have probably been at home because the kid would have been asleep.
Yeah.
But this time, when you changed it, I was like, cool. So I decided to leave everybody at the house, come to the park, get a nice little background and some quietness, so you can make sure
Yeah,
everything is like
yeah.
peaceful and serene. So yeah.
No, I got kids, so I know what you mean because I
Yeah,
have a 16-year-old, I have a 10-year-old, and
yeah,
so it is one of those things that you're trying to find that space for yourself, and especially because stuck not necessarily being stuck at home because I try to find ways to be able to um, what we're going through right now as a
yeah.
nation, as around the world, and to be able to find sort of normancy of things, and
There,
so
yeah. There's always goals, man. So I know, like during this pandemic, it's been kind of weird for a lot of us. But like, just for example, right? I look at life as look, the Earth has been around for like 3 billion years, right? Oh, whatever the number. It's a big, big number. It's more
yeah,
time than we're ever gonna have on this planet, right? And we get a little bitty dot, right? 100 years if we're lucky. Probably more like 75 to 80. So no matter what the situation, I always want to maintain a symbol of positivity, right? Because there's always, like, no matter what, right? You can look at your life right here and see where you are. And I'm sure you have a backstory, right? Coming from this and that. And here's the thing, you have a backstory. You're talking
yeah,
about all the things that are happening. I've had some really bad times in life where I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. And of course, now I'm telling you about it, or I can share the story now because I've made it through it. So my point is, even though it seems very stressful, it is, especially for those who are really impacted. And I was very impacted, not health-wise, but when your income suffers, your family suffers, your household suffers, the stress can go up, right? So it's
yeah,
not just a health thing, but there's always some positivity, right? So if you, to me, just if you maintain that good energy, that good frequency, I'm telling you, like it's nothing
Yeah.
but good is gonna come out of it for
Yeah.
you if you embrace that. So
Yes.
again, I lost what, like $85,000 in income instantly, like overnight. The pandemic started March 12th,
Yeah.
March 13th. We got together as a team. It was like, we got to land this plane. We don't have any runway because we're running out of money because we thought we was going to have this, and now this happened. And
Yeah.
like, it was very sad, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, so what's next? You know?
Yeah.
So it's a chapter in the book, man. You turn the chapter, turn the page. It's not a fun
Yes.
chapter, but you got to go through it to get to the next page, right?
Yes. Exactly.
That's, yeah,
Exactly.
that's all. That's what it's all about.
The the thing that that connect us, since it's I know you from Facebook, and we've been following each other. Uh,
Yeah, it's been a
it's
while
been
now, right?
Yeah, it's been a while because I remember going to my first summit, and this was in
Was it Vegas?
2017. I went to the
No,
one.
so
Go ahead.
Tennessee. Is that Tennessee?
No, that was New Orleans. I went to New Orleans
Ah, okay,
my
I didn't go
first
there.
time, and one of the funniest thing is that when I went to New Orleans, I got $0 in my pocket to go to New Orleans,
You
and
sound like me when I went to Tennessee. I had enough to get there, and then had to borrow some money from one of my good friends to get back.
yeah, yeah, what?
Oh man,
This
that's
is crazy.
wild.
It's funny I'm mentioning this to you because I know that when I went, my wife just lost her job in 2017. And she was like, I don't have a job. How are you going to go to New Orleans? Listen,
Uh-huh.
I already paid for this ticket. I'm going to take a bus. I'm going to ride my way over there, and I'm just going to go for it because
Yeah.
I never been the 10 years that I'm being part of as a coach and part of the Team Beachbody family, never had the chance to it. So when I decided I said, let me go. Now, hear me this. I didn't have a hotel room.
What?
Yep.
What the fudge? I need to hear this. Keep going. Keep going. What?
And
I thought I gotta tell your story, man.
no, but I'm saying that what you're saying is that when you said, "Hey, I went there and I asked somebody to borrow to be able to complete something that is going to bring you value in the long term,"
Right.
that right there was incredible. It was incredible because what I thought I was just risking and going for something different at the time, I thought am I mean, being kind of sort of and not doing the mature thing, kind of thinking about my wife. And I know that she was like, I don't have a job. How you going to this trip? And,
Yeah.
like I just lost this job, and I went for it. And it was the best experience ever because number one, the energy, like you said,
Yeah.
right? And the people, the new atmosphere, a different state. Um, the fact that, I went to see the Beachbody Classic for the people that were there.
You mean
It
the
was,
physique show?
yeah, exactly. And
I
I
got a
got
great
so,
story about that.
and hearing you saying that you went and you went with like literally almost nothing, and
Dude,
tell me about that.
you,
Tell me about that piece that you were like,
let me tell you that. So let me tell you about that because I have a couple stories related to that, and it makes so much sense. But it's really a story of faith, to be perfectly honest.
yeah,
Um, because sometimes you got to see things before they even exist. So when I went to the one the year prior. I think it was in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. So even before I got there, I really didn't have the money to go,
yeah,
right? And I'm living in Atlanta at the time, so I was able to drive. So I got lucky in that regard. But again, I I had a really nice gym and everything that I was training in, training for the classic, right? Because again, I
yeah,
wanted to get
yeah.
up there and compete. I lost all of that. I was down to one set of dumbbells and one stability ball. That's it. I'm working out in this little ass space called the kitchen. I'm telling you, it was a small, small place, right? Because I went from this big, nice house, indoor gym, had built everything out. And then I had access to the YMCA, and then like all of that just went like dark overnight. So I'm training in the kitchen. There's 6 weeks left. I'm feeling a little bit depressed because I'm like, First of all, you're doing a show, and I'm
Yeah.
working out in my kitchen, and I got like one set of dumbbells. So it's like, but I'd made the commitment. So that's the first thing. So I was like, you know what, I got to finish this out. So instead of complaining, I just went in. I'm doing my body beast, and doing whatever I can, to follow that program. Slowing the weight down, trying to create a little bit more time and attention, all kind of stuff. So then, little by little, teaching these small classes where I'm making $20 a year, $20 a year, $40 a year, like not enough money. It just saved enough to drive there. I was able to get a hotel, luckily. But I'm telling you, the whole time I'm starving, no real money. Like, luckily, again, I had some friends from Canada that came out, and it was embarrassing. But I was like, no, I'm gonna need your help. So the funny part is, I'm on stage. I ended up coming in third, right? I'm flexing, doing all the fancy stuff, oiled all up. People are cheering, and I got the trophy, taking pictures out on the street. And the whole time I'm thinking, like, oh God, I'm so hungry. I'm like, I'm so hungry, and I don't have a way back home. So while I'm at the height of this moment, I'm trying to figure out how to come up and go get back to Atlanta from Nashville, Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
And again, luckily, again, when I'll say this one thing, like when I did join Beachbody, it was a great, great experience. I still had obviously I met you, like all of my friends that I had before, like during that, I still keep in contact with now, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them are still, they're doing, multitasking because fitness is challenging at times.
Yeah.
But it's funny how you can be on top of the world and still, like, to the rest of the world, but you're trying to figure it out. I remember listening to Les Brown. He was like talking about, he was giving like this wonderful, masterful speech in front of thousands of people, and he was like, "Man, I didn't even have my money stuff together, and I'm telling them how to like be prosperous." So sometimes you got to kind of be the thing before it
Yeah.
happens. So it's a story of faith, because how I look at it from a divine perspective is we all want a lot of things, right? We
Yeah.
want to be fit. We want to be happy. We want the relationship. We want whatever it is that we want. But are we willing to really like put it on the line, get out there and just like do it? Do you have to wait for everything to be in order, right? Or will you be able to just like kind of step out on faith? And that's what you did when you went to New Orleans,
Yeah.
And I know that had to be a tremendous sacrifice. And I can't imagine what your wife was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we ain't got none of this, and you're gonna spend this because I guess the ticket was already bought, right?
Yes.
So
I bought
at
the
least
ticket.
the ticket to Summit, right? But you
Yeah.
still had to get there. So imagine that, you lost this much income, this ticket's already purchased. It's like she's probably thinking, look, we need to knuckle down and make this thing. And you're like, nah, I gotta go for this,
Yeah.
And the blessing comes out of just like kind of going for it, kind of for lack of a better word, just blind faith, close your eyes. You made the decision, even though it looks like the chasm between you going from here to there is too wide to jump. You got to kind of make that leap. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and it sounds like that's what you did. That's definitely what I did for Tennessee. That's even what I did coming back to California. But I'll save that story so I don't talk too much because I get excited.
No, because I think that the fact that we have this connection through what you have done. Because when I saw those pictures, the pictures that you posted and you did the classic, fucking, I was like, this guy, fucking admiration, big time. I was like, wow, because you know what? Because I know there was a process to that,
Oh my
you know,
God, man.
and there was a
It was a
process to
tremendous
it.
process. No
So
question.
and so when I tell a lot of people is you can see the before and after, but between that, that's like I had done these 10 years now with with
Yeah.
with with, with being part of the family,
Yeah, man.
but
I
those
see the
10,
insanity.
yeah, and those 10 years, I learned so much about myself because I was, the whole word of saying dig deeper. When you talk about digging deeper,
Yeah.
it's not just about the physical aspect.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
It's not, and I keep saying now more than ever, it's the mindset aspect. Your mindset has a lot to do with it because a
Yeah.
lot of people say, "Boy, it's easy for you to say."
Nah, that's because they're looking at the end result.
Yeah,
It's easy to celebrate somebody when they're on top, but I'm like, the process to get there,
yeah,
like there's plenty of moments that, like, even as a fitness professional, that you want to quit,
Yeah.
right? I mean, tell me, like, how many classes do you teach where it's like, when that curtain opens, they don't care about what's going on with your life. They don't care if your kids are sick. They don't care if your wife didn't come home. When that curtain's open and it's time for you to teach, they're expecting like 100% air, right? They
Yeah.
want Coach E in the building,
Yep.
and that's it. So it's so much energy that's poured out when you're doing it for real, and you're doing it as a professional. There's so much energy that's poured out into that moment, so much preparation that goes up just to give them, a 45-minute or 30-minute or 60-minute class, that
Yeah.
it takes a lot. Like, it's not easy. Like, it
Yeah.
looks easy because you've been doing it, and you've earned the right to stand in front of people, to look the way you look. But like, we all have that potential. We all can take that journey,
Yeah.
And again, to me, it's just, I know I'll probably echo this like 20 million times before they end. It's just really a matter of faith, right? My
Yeah.
breakthrough came when I started to really exercise faith. Like, and just like, you know what, you can do this, James. Stop waiting for somebody to do something for you. Stop waiting
Yeah.
for lightning to come off the sky. And
Yeah.
just like, okay, now you have this epiphany, aha moment, then you go and do it. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. I was
Yeah.
a perfectionist, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, I had to have, this is why like, first of all, I've tried a gazillion businesses. I'm going to tell you that, right? Before I stumbled onto fitness, right? And I got lucky in that regard. Um, but it's like, I always wanted everything to be perfect. So I get the office space, I get all the shit for the desk, right? I get the suit. I remember taking pictures in the suit, got my feet up on the desk, haven't done anything. And then as soon as that was over, I was like, all right, so what do I do now? Right? It's like,
Yeah.
now you got to actually make that call. Now you actually got to make this. Now you actually got to do that. So I wasn't really, like you said, mentally ready to put that work in. And honestly, fitness has been a super duper blessing for me because it is hard, right? It's
Yeah.
tremendously challenging to get up early or late or whatever, to do work when you don't feel like doing work. So for example, the very first program that I did, the very first fitness anything that I completed was P90X, right?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about whether I'm working out in the gym or anything. I was like, all right, and I was probably, because I was really isolated at that point, just kind of by myself, like, for lack of a better word, in Atlanta. Like, I wasn't around my family. I
Yeah.
was just in the garage. So every day I'm jumping up with Tony Horton. It was the hardest thing ever. It was the hardest thing I ever did. But I
Yeah.
made the commitment. It was like 6 days a week, 90 days. Like, that's a long time, right? Especially if you haven't really did anything consistently,
Yeah.
right? Only thing we really do consistently is go to sleep and eat, talk some mess, watch TV, maybe go to work if we have a job.
Yeah.
But I just made this bet with myself that I'm just gonna beat Tony Horton. It became this game to me. And at
Yeah.
the end of 90 days, like, I physically changed, yes, but like you said, the mental aspect, I was like, wow. This is the first time I felt like I had accomplished something in forever. And
Yeah.
school don't count because everybody makes you go to school,
Yeah.
whether it's elementary, high school, college. So it really empowered me. I think it kind of strengthened my mind, and it really opened the door to me really exploding and growing, like, in the fitness sense. And then it just allowed me to apply that to every other aspect of my life. And I realized then that fitness for me was a doorway, right, to become more. So that's kind of
Yeah.
like my MO. Like, I have a couple of phrases that I use like every day. Like, I wake up every single day and intentionally create my day. I want to maintain that attitude, right?
Yeah.
And the other one, like, I sign a lot of my emails, become more, be more, because I think we all want to become more than what we are. Like, if
Yeah.
we were to strip away all the obstacles, what would you do? If money wasn't a factor, what would you do, type of thing, right? So fitness became a gateway to more. So when I approach fitness, when I approach clients, when clients approach me, I'm always looking at myself, not so much as Coach James, I'm going to get you fit. That's going to happen along the way. I'm looking at, how can we open you up to become more? You're here, for example, to lose 10 pounds, gain 10 pounds, but there's something more that we're going to tap into along the way. And that's
Yeah.
really what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
right? And we're going to learn that. So it's a beautiful, beautiful journey that I love to take with people.
Yes. And it does has the aspect of the increase the potential, the human potential of that person
Oh,
that you bring it into, for them
oh
to
yeah.
actually take the class or take the assessment, or whatever you want to call it. Because at the end of the day, one of the things that it teach me for example, just to give you an idea, is when I first started podcasting and doing this, I was scared. I was so scared about doing podcasts because who's gonna listen to me to begin with? And
First
then
of all, I'm super proud of the fact that the logo, everything is beautiful. Because I bought podcasting equipment, and I shot one little pilot, and I was like, I know what you're feeling, man.
yeah,
Like,
and
so it's
and
very exciting to be here to see you doing this thing here.
and let me tell you something, man. When the first time I recorded it, I was like, you know, hopefully this is good. Let me ask my friend. I want his opinion. And
Yeah.
my friend called me and he's like, listen, you know, you should do one thing is put a battery onto your fire alarm thingy because it's beeping in the background. And like and I was like, but what about what I was saying in the podcast? Because at the end of the day, I was like, he was telling me you need to put a battery on your fire alarm thing because it's beeping in the background. And so to me was like, you know what? At least he bothered to listen to it. So let me
Hey,
continue,
right,
right?
right. Yeah.
And so and it's been a learning experience in 2017, and I know that experience that you have, it makes you understand much more how valuable you are as a person. How much can you bring value to so many people? Because I know for a fact that that whole process you went through and get there and where you are, and you have gone through all these obstacles. As humans, we are constantly being challenged on a constant basis. Um, and I know you have clients and they come to you and they want to talk to you. And what
Yeah.
is it that now more than ever now that when you have a client in front of you, besides what you said before, is what actually they're expecting out of you now more, now that you're trying to get to the next level for them? Because I know they're expecting something when you're training them, when they are getting to get back again to the game of actually staying healthy.
I think with myself, because I have a unique approach to fitness, and let's be honest, it's a very low barrier to entry to fitness, so anybody can get in it.
Yeah.
Which is why I sort of phrase certain things the way I phrase it. Like, if I say when you're serious about it, because there's a lot of people, because it's so easy to get in. Just scroll through Instagram. Become a certified trainer today. Like, I'm like, it's like today, just right now, I can do it right now. Like, and I'm a fitness professional. I'm like, it's so easy to get in that it's a bunch of different people who I think kind of water down the the industry, so to speak.
Yeah.
So with my approach, it is more like it's always interesting because the guys they see me, especially older guys like 40 or more, or even mid 30s, because it just depends. They kind of want to look like me. They're looking at themselves. Like I had one guy, he was like, "My wife says I'm getting fat. I saw you, so now I want to work with you." So, right now during the pandemic, everything is sort of done virtually. But it hasn't stopped people from, coming to hang out with me. But they come first because they see how I look and they see the consistency. So they physically are imagining themselves like that, which I think visualization is important.
Yeah.
But then as they start to train with me, right, and they understand how I interact with them, even through the camera, they're like, okay, there's something more there. Now, I'm telling you what people have told me.
Yeah.
So now it becomes, and again, that's why I say I'm just simply like, for me, fitness, I'm just the doorman. I'm just here holding the door. If you want to walk through and become more, that's on you, right? Um, so as they begin to train, it becomes, and I can instantly tell that it's so much more than about just a look, right? People
Yeah.
start to sort of elevate. I have one guy, I give a ton of examples, but I'll use this one guy because through this entire pandemic, right, he has been training with me. I did not know that he was also following me on ClassPass. Because if you have their audio fitness app, like I'm like the trainer on there. There's plenty of trainers, but I like to feel like I'm the voice of ClassPass. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody should feel like they're the voice of something. So, when we connected, I just asked him, I was like, so what keeps you coming? Because people were coming and falling off. Because, people want to train in person. And, it's
Yeah.
hard to train virtually by yourself in your garage in your living room with another person on a camera and stay motivated, right? So, but because he was so consistent, I was like, dude, why do you keep coming? He was like, this is the absolute best part of my day. This helps to power me through my work. And he was an engineer, right? So he did a
Yeah.
lot of sitting, did a lot of meetings, things like that. And it was kind of jaw dropping for me because I'm like, this is the best part of your day. Like, and again, I'm putting all that I can into a class, into a workout. I'm designing these things weeks ahead and then making adjustments even up until the last minute because I want to make sure that, it's one, well rounded and a balanced work, and two, that they enjoy it without getting too crazy. But when he said, like, like this is the best part of his day, like that kind of one inspired and empowered me, and also made me feel way more like, okay, I got to make sure I show up like every single time. And everyone that I talked to, from a first time visitor to a person who's been like with me for, I would say he's probably been with me the longest, almost a year. Just well, how long is this pandemic going? Since March, like 8 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
been with me that much time. So it's been pretty impactful. So, and again, we've made some small adjustments to, his eating, other people's eating. So I kind of let it naturally unfold because as a trainer, you can kind of force some things down people's throat, or people will start to eventually let you know what what they're looking for, what they need, right? So I just try to be the guy, like, again, the doorman. I'm just going to give you what you need. So again, we can talk about everything, we can do everything, or I can just sort of pay attention because people are going to respond. They're going to say, "Hey," I had one guy. He was like, I could barely finish a class, bro. Is there any recommendations on what I should eat? So then that created another call for us on Zoom where we're now talking about nutrition. So now
Yeah.
we introduce that aspect. So that's kind of how the approach has been. That's kind of how the clients have responded. It's kind of how I'm answering this question. Hopefully, the tangent is still on the road.
No, and you know what? The thing is that when any approach to help that individual and that person and whoever comes along and and part of the journey, that is in a consistent basis, right? I always tell, if it wasn't for that particular moment of the situation, you wouldn't be having that conversation, because there's something that comes along with that whole change, that it becomes something for somebody.
Oh, no
Because
question.
you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
because I know, um, when I think it was my in the middle, I think it was in the middle of me creating the podcast, and I got an email from Argentina. And Argentina, I was like, what is this email from? Because I already started, putting the links into the podcast, right? And the person says, hey, thank you so much,
yeah. That's so dope.
because of the podcast, I'm changing my way of eating. And I
You're
was
like, wait a
like,
minute, Argentina? People listening
Argentina,
out there?
exactly. And I was Argentina, and then
Nice.
and I was like, it feels so good knowing that that one person can make a huge difference. That one person it brings you so much, so much joy,
Yeah.
that, man, it's well worth, it's, I
Yeah.
mean, and I know it's that the work you're doing, it is 120% expanding much more out of it,
Yeah.
because
You,
go ahead.
it's interesting. As a fitness professional, you really don't realize how much you're touching people's lives, right?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, you say you've been, doing it over 10 years. I've been here over a decade. Doing it, and it's very easy to just kind of start to go through the routines and forget the impact that you're having, like because you're just doing it, right? You just work.
Yeah.
It's like being a father. It's like, hey, let's say you're a super great dad, and like, well, you're just being you, and all of a sudden your kid just come and gives you a big hug. If it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't be here. And it's like, whoa, what the hell did I do? I just smacked you around a little bit when you was a kid, right? And, make sure you didn't get run over by a car, but we forget the impact of
Yeah.
like just how powerful what we do can be. Like I've had people. There was this one specific story some years ago. I helped to train. I say help her train because I don't want to take full credit. But she, the young lady, had lost like over 100 pounds in about a year, right? And she put
Yeah.
in some tremendous work. So you can pat yourself on the back, but the beautiful part with that is, when I opened that door, helped open that door for her, and she went through it, all of a sudden, her eyes lit up. She started to live and dream again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now she's writing these blogs about how she, her fitness journey and some other things, and you just never know the impact. I remember when I was writing a blog, I used to want to do all kinds of. I guess eventually I was going to talk at some point because I was
Yeah.
writing blogs, I wanted to do a podcast, but it was being read in like 30 countries. Like, I did not know that. I started looking at the Google Analytics, and I was like, wait a minute, Poland, Russia, China. Like, I didn't even know they could read. Like, they get this in China, and then of course, across the United States, and it just, like you said, you got the email from Argentina.
Yeah.
Doing fitness, being on ClassPass, it's like a global platform. I've gotten Instagram, messages from people in Italy, in Spain, talking about like this and that. Like, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I barely like how I sound, but the fact that somebody's listening, I'm like, and like following and like being empowered by what we do, it's incredible, bro.
Yes. In one,
So
and I was going to ask you something because I know because I know you continue, doing the training and teaching classes and stuff like that. Um, how do you see all these changes? I mean, technology has helped us out as a culture big time because I know that we depend on that technology. We depend on that to be able to step forward more because we can reach out more people. Because I know that I had done that because having the platforms that we have and be able to utilize that, how much more difference now is it making to you in regards to what you do?
oh man, I love that. I was having conversations this week. Sorry, the sun is just moving, so I'm moving with it.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Sorry. I was trying to find a perfect spot as I walked out here. But anyway, I might go move around a little bit because it just creates a little bit more negative. Technology. I love technology. I believe that it's been a boom for me. Like, because again, the big thing about fitness, and I'll share this story because I learned this when I was working at a very big gym. Right? I don't know. Should I say the name? Are we allowed to say names? How's this work? Does it matter?
I don't think so. I think that because I worked for a big company back in 2006, so
Okay.
it's
Well,
gone now.
I won't name the name. This company still exists, and we don't want to get into love. But it's a cool company because I learned a lot. But forget about that story. Technology has been a great boom for me. Like, I am the automate everything guy, right? Not that I want to put people out of business or out of work, but I just feel like if we get all these little things out of the way, then it opens the door for us to kind of really focus on the things that matter, right? So
Yeah,
with me working at, for example, at the big box gym there, I loved it. I enjoyed it. But again, fitness is very demanding. When you do it right? When you are a true professional to the craft, it's very taxing, right? It's not easy, right? It's the reason you only have a few great players in the NBA or football or even soccer, right? There's a few
yeah,
names that we all know straight up,
yeah.
right?
It's,
Because they put in a different type of work, right? So fitness is very taxing, and I remember training like from 5 a.m. to sometimes as late as 9, 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, that's a long strain, right? And now I had some gaps in there. It wasn't like I was training like 17 hours a day. There were
yeah,
some gaps, but my day was starting at 5, which means I got to be up at 3:30 to get to San Francisco. Gives you clues about what his gym was. I started giving the address, and people could figure it out. I'm just kidding. So my point is, I was training a lot of people, and I loved what I was doing, but physically, you can only touch so many people, right?
yeah,
So technology for me has allowed me to touch way more people than I can ever touch in person, right? Because even if I'm training 3,000 people in the room, like we've been to Summit, you've seen Sean T, right? We've seen a few hundred people in the room, like doing whatever it is that they're doing, with the moves, and that's cool. But most of us are not going to get that opportunity to be in front of that many people, especially like with today. So I remember again going back to faith, meditating, praying. I'm like, okay, how can I reach more people? How can I touch more people? Right? And then I sort of stepped back, right? Because I know what I want, but I wasn't sure how to get there. So my prayer was very simple. I was like, okay, I want to touch more people. I'm not going to necessarily dictate how because I don't really know how. So I'll allow, God, the universe, whoever you want to call it, to like bring the opportunity to me. And that's kind of how it happened. So then I go from still training, right? This time a lot less people to doing fitness voiceover, right?
Yeah.
Started with a company, Vivo, not Vivo, yeah, Vivo the app, who was
Yeah.
they were then purchased by ClassPass, right? So now all of a sudden, app is created, and I also did it for Fitbit. So there's a few companies that I've done the voiceover for. So now, instead of just touching people in San Francisco, because that's where I was, now I'm touching people in San Francisco, in Oakland, in Utah, in New
Yeah.
York, in Italy, in Spain, in wherever the people are. So again, technology has allowed me to really expand, right? And the pandemic has even allowed us to expand. Think about doing classes on Zoom. I've seen also actually do classes on Reset. So if anybody thinking about doing classes, it's just I call it Super Zoom. Shout out. So that's one name I will mention. But it's so funny because I'm like, why as a fitness professional was I not using a video platform before in addition to, right?
Yeah.
So technology has allowed us to expand. In the future of fitness, to me, is going to be built around technology. I don't think you can really lose that people touch, right? Because people love to be around other people, right? We're humans. We're built to relate. That's why we love relationships. Whether it's a friendship, a marriage, a business partnership, it's all a relationship. We're designed to
Yeah.
interact with one another, right? So you can't take that aspect away, but you can enhance it, right? So I think VR has a place in fitness. I think augmented reality, right, if they can get that, has a place in fitness. You think about companies like the company with the big mirror, where people are.
Yeah.
I would never do that in front of a mirror because it's not my thing. I don't even look at myself when I work out, let alone look in the mirror. But there's a few companies who are embracing the technology side that are trying to sort of bring the personal trainer home in a different way, so to
Yeah.
have that experience. And one of the things I think about, I'll make this the last point again, something else. Have you seen the movie I, Robot with Will Smith? Everybody
Yes.
maybe has seen it, heard of it, but this is a
Yes.
specific part that nobody's going to remember, but I'm going to say it anyway. He walks into his apartment, and then, like, his little personal assistant, right? It's like a little hologram ball, and she comes down, and she's kind of 3D in his house. I'm like, that could be something for fitness, right? So
Yeah.
now instead of us being on this flat screen, and as beautiful as the phone is, it's still a flat screen, now virtually in your space, right? So there's a lot of different ways technology can really enhance what we're doing. So I'm looking forward to something like going in that direction.
Yeah.
So,
I remember when Blockbuster used to be Blockbuster and block
yeah,
right? Right? And
no doubt,
so
no doubt.
and I remember, going to the Blockbuster and say, "Hey, you have forgotten to bring up your movies back, so you had to go." and
Yeah,
but
major fees.
exactly. And so look at the amount of things that technology has bring us together. And let's talk about one thing that I want to tell you is how much have since the moment you're starting with your fitness journey, how much has your nutrition intake in diet has changed completely to you?
For me, from a nutritional standpoint, it has been. Sorry, I'm trying to make a little adjustment here
Yeah.
as the sun was starting to cook this side of my face. And I want you guys to see a smooth chocolate skin, not like a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
burnt chocolate again. Anyway, the nutritional side, I actually learned a lot of that from just doing the physique competitions with Beachbody. Because prior to that, my food intake was pretty terrible. So, and that's half the battle of fitness, right?
Yeah.
You like I know it's a cliche to say you can't outwork a bad diet. It's kind of true though. Like you just can't. It's a cliche, but you can't. Like if you can get your diet even halfway in order, you can actually work a little less hard in the gym and still get great results. Right? If you
Yeah.
work super hard, you'll probably end up on somebody's stage in a physique show. Who knows? So, but I actually learned a lot of that from doing Body Beast. That was my first because it's when you're doing those professional events or even amateur events, um, nutrition is probably the number one thing that you have to focus on. So it allowed me to really get into the micro aspect of food in terms of protein, carbs, fats, um, those basics. Your macronutrients, your micronutrients, and then just really understanding how much am I eating. Not just a day, but per meal. during snacks, and how many
Yeah.
total calories. Like, what's it going to take for me to get to this level? Whether it's to add muscle or lose weight. So learning about like calorie surplus and deficits, and it's pretty basic, but it's overwhelming. It was very overwhelming in the beginning, and that's what really caused me not to do more shows because it's a great lesson. I feel like everybody, if they can take their journey just once, just to learn, you'll realize that, oh my God, I can just make these alterations to my diet, and all of a sudden my body changes, right? Now, I always say that with a caveat because in the fitness space, it doesn't necessarily, just because your body's changing doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy. So there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I explain that. So again, for me, I actually ended up going vegetarian. Um, I don't know why. I just experimented. So I'm an experimenter.
Yeah.
So again, I had to kind of alter my diet that way. And, it was really just, again, that body beast moment, having to go through that program. Because again, when I got it, I was like, all right, I'm about to grab these weights. I'm about to get these deadlifts. I'm about to get big. And it's like, nah, you're about to read 25 pages of like nutrition. And then we're going to talk about the program. So once I got that kind of in place, it became almost like clockwork. And I realized that it was actually very simple. And it wasn't a matter of either starving or overeating or eating things that I did not like. It was just a matter of understanding the foods that I was eating. And for me, because again, I am a health nut, I wanted to take it to another level. I wanted, like, to feel energized and alive and well. I don't want to just look good. I want to feel good, right? And part of that is what you put inside your body. So for me, again, that's why I went vegetarian. I decided, and I said, I don't know why, but that was kind of the reason. Matter of fact, I went vegetarian and I cut out the sugar. So that's two parts,
Yeah.
because that's a whole nother story. But it just allowed me to not only look good, but just feel a lot better. So even now, I got a tremendous amount of energy. I work out 5-6 days a week. I have 3-row. We play at the park. I play basketball with my sons, right? I do these
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy training classes, and this is every day like clockwork. There are some days mentally I don't want to do it, but I attribute a lot of that to the fact that I eat pretty well, and I keep at this point sugars to a minimum. So outside of fruits, a little bit of chocolate here and there, you know, tablespoon in the coffee, 2 teaspoons. So I really try to monitor certain things because I'm thinking about not just lifespan, but like health span, right?
Yeah.
So it's great to get 80, 90 years. I talked about that in the beginning. Like, we only get this much time. I want this much time to be as beautiful and fun as possible, right? So I want, like, if I get 90 years, I want 90 as healthy as possible years. I don't want like 50 cool years and then 40 years of like just taking a ton of pills and things like that. And, kind of, again, going back to Body Beast, because that's kind of how I started, going through that nutrition program and then doing some experimentation myself allowed me to really alter my diet and really get things in order. Because I used to eat just junk. I'm
Yeah.
talking like, I made a post, it was some years ago, but because people, like they said, they think it's easy. I'm like, dude, I used to eat, like, I would tell people I used to eat just like you. I ate everything. There was nothing off limits. And sugar, give me some more, right? I wasn't saying give me, like, we don't think about sugar like I'm just going to eat a bunch of sugar. We just do, right? Through the cups, through the cupcakes, through the candies, through the cakes, through the crap that we buy from Starbucks and things like that. So, I was like, I don't know how much sugar I was eating, but I'm like, I'm always like grateful that I'm even alive. I'm like, I'm even still here. But I think about how I used to eat,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
some
Because
donuts.
one of the things that I like to, and I tell a lot of people, it's like everybody's different in regards to when it comes down to eating and their preference and the food intake. One of the things that I learned, when in 2017, because I had a digestion problem that I was going through in
Mm-hmm.
2017. I learned a lot from the science part of it. Like, when you talk about digging deep,
Yeah.
there's a lot to dig deep when it comes down to our food intake, especially in this country.
Oh my God,
Um,
it's such a rabbit hole, but it's beautiful though. Like when
yeah,
you learn it, it's like, oh man, you can really, like, you're in total control of changing your body,
yeah,
like inside and out, right? I mean, I've learned about, because I started fasting, right? So when I fast, it's so funny that you posted you were doing a 72-hour fast. Because when
Yeah.
I fast, I do a 72-hour fast, right?
Yeah.
And I do it roughly right now once every quarter. And again, what I'm trying to induce is autophagy, right? So that's just that, the cells are supposed to kind of recycle, die, leave your body. But what happens is we we don't give our body a chance to rest per se, right? So again, I started like you digging really deep into the science of it, following Dr. Rhonda Patrick, a few other people, and again, they speak a lot about fasting, intermittent fasting, different type. They're basically talking about health span. So they've got me learning about this cellular biology, this body, this human body that we live in, and how to get it to stay functioning at a high level on the inside, right?
Yeah.
We kind of
Yeah.
unfortunately live in a country that, what we see on the outside is the most important to everybody, right? This is why people do, teeth whitening and hair and face and, whatever serums that they do to stay looking young. But, they're unfortunately dying faster on the inside than, I don't want to look 25 and like, I want to feel 25. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a big difference to me. So if you can do both, that's great. But I think we're too focused on the outside. So when I started learning about some of the cellular functions and how mitochondria works, and keep in mind, I took biology in school, but you don't take deep dives unless you're kind of in that field. So you take the class, you pass the class, you have fun, but learning like about all these different mechanisms in the body and how to enhance them just through naturally eating food, right? So all of a sudden, my spinach and kale intake is going up, right? I totally eliminated meat. And I'm not saying meat is bad, just for me, right? So when you start to learn about some of these cellular functions and how you can impact them to live a more vibrant life, you're like, huh, you know. But again, it's unique for everybody. So I know for
Yes.
me, again, I just having sons, and daughters. I wanted to kind of be alive with purpose for them,
Yeah.
more so than myself. So again, I'm very lucky and blessed to have this, learn the things that I've learned and apply it more importantly.
Yeah.
Um, that way now I can be fully functional for them.
Yeah.
So again, my oldest son is 22, right? So, and we were out there balling, right? Not a lot of dads out there balling. I've seen a lot of my son's dads. No disrespect, but they're not to me. Again, I just want to live a full life. So I don't want to, there's no shots at anybody else. But again, when I look at those guys and look at them growing up, being that inspiration for them, being a role model, really for anybody.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't just about the physical fitness because you can work out, but that don't mean you're in shape. That don't mean you have endurance. That don't
Yeah.
mean you can do a Spartan race. That don't mean you can run 20 miles. That just means you look like a certain way. Trust me, I know. I got bodybuilder fans, right? They look amazing. And I'm not saying they can't do these things. People unfortunately think that if you look a certain way, then you can do all these wonderful things. I'm like, no, that's not the case.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it comes down to, hey, what are you putting in your body, right? How much sleep are you getting? So
You know what? The funny thing you mentioned, Amy, who get, you're bowling with your kid. He's only 22 years old, right? You said 22?
yeah, he just
I
turned
re
22.
I remember taking my kids to a 5K run, right? And we were getting ready, kind of a little bit, giving a little bit in the story. But let me tell you something. I was all the way in the back of the 5K run, right? My kids, my 21-year-old, right? It was on front.
Mm-hmm.
And so is my 16-year-old was in front. And I said, they were like, Dad, come over here. No, I went all the way in the back. I let him run first. Within the mile, I'm passing them.
Show them how it's
I saw,
done, man.
yeah, they see me, my 16-year-old sees me. Hey, Dad, wait. No, I'm passing. Then I went past and I'm like, and then they realized that consistency, because I know they love to work out with me. I know they want to work out with me, but I'm not
Yeah.
a person that I'm in top of them. I just show you, because that's what it is let me show you what I have come to learn. And then if you want to apply it and you want to learn from it, ask me. I'm down to it, because I think that that's the part that you said it right, man. When they watching you and they're learning from you, and
Oh,
you're
no
the
doubt about
practitioner.
it. Yeah, I always say kids will do what you do, not what you say. So
Actually,
if you want to have some rounded kids, then that means you probably should be a well-rounded person. Too often, I think people, you know, it's been a unique experience just being a parent because you just have to be. If you want to be that parent, I think you just have to be whatever it is you're trying to tell a kid to do. You know, you could tell, like, we're all humans. None of us really want to be told what to do. We want to do whatever we want to do, even if, like, there's people, I used to work at this company many, many moons ago. And I remember, like, you hire people and they're supposed to do something. And they're like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like, that's why I hired you. Like, you cannot not do. So nobody really wants to be told what to do. So it was a great learning experience because I had to learn to communicate with these people in a way to get them to perform this job at its highest level without actually telling them what to do. And
Yeah.
parenting is the same thing, even with fitness sometimes. So if you could show them, right, and you know your kids are always watching, right? So that's how you really become a role model, right? I couldn't tell them about eating healthy and being fit if I was not doing that. It's like the person smoking. You shouldn't be smoking. I'm like, wait a minute. Why would I even listen to you? That's just the nature of humans, right? That's how we do. We are looking at what people are doing and then making judgments based on that. It's the reason that people come to me to train. They look at me and say, oh, he look fit. He could probably teach me. But if I was sitting down, just, you know, maybe not doing the things that I'm doing, but talking about it, no.
Yeah.
We talk too much. Social media has given everybody a platform. We talk too much. Not enough doers, too many talkers, man. Like, if you're doing, in fitness, you know, people are attracted to you. They'll come to you eventually.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, same thing with kids. So I admire that where, you know, you're literally inspiring those dudes. Like, they're going to think about this moment at 10, at 16, and when they get older, maybe have sons or whatnot, they're going to remember those lessons, and they're going to be applying those same things. So now you got a generation of people you're already touching. You don't even know it. It's incredible, man. Yeah.
It is an amazing thing. I like to talk about culture. I'm Latino. I'm from South America. I came to this country back in 1992. You know,
Cool.
I was 16 years old. I didn't know the language. I can tell you that the one thing that when I came to this country, it was a culture shock.
What do you
And
mean?
you know, and one of the things that I can tell you as far as culture shock, because number one, obviously I didn't speak the language very well. You know, I was like barely say hi in English. And so what it challenged me to be my best was that I wanted to quit so bad at 16 because I didn't know nobody here. And this comes from part of the mindset, and if you can talk to the younger self, what would you say to your younger self if you had the chance to?
Man, you know, I was just literally having this conversation with my sons the other day. Because this is one of these questions, especially as you get older, like you start to hear more just from even other people. You know, I think there's a lot of things that, like, a flood of things come because I'd be the guardian angel by my side, stopping me, bro. Do not make that decision. No, you don't need to date her. No, you don't need to do this. There's so many things I can think of right now, but I think the biggest thing that I would say is maybe just have a little bit more faith, right? Have a little bit more belief in yourself. I didn't have a lot of belief in myself, right? If I did it, then I had the belief. But if I didn't do it, I didn't have the belief. So, and what that means is I was quitting a lot, you know, so, and that's just the realness of it. I was kind of a loser in that sense. That's kind of hard to say, but that's really the truth of it. Like, I had like zero faith in myself, zero belief, you know, and I got away with a lot of things because I had a little bit of charisma and, you know, people like how I looked in some regards. So I was sort of just feeding off of what people said, like, oh, you're going to be this and you're going to be that, all this potential. But I was terrified to even try anything because I was so afraid of failing. It was so much pressure of looking bad that I was just like, you know, I'm going to just live off this potential. Like, everybody thought I was that guy, right? So I'm like, I'm going to just be that guy. I wasn't doing anything. I was afraid of everything. You know, that's why I could take pictures with the suit and get the office looking nice and never do anything. Because at that point, it's like, now you actually have to do something. I was deadly afraid. So I would tell myself literally just, look, bro, have a little bit more faith, believe in yourself. Like, believe that you can do it. And it's okay to fail, right?
Yeah.
Because again, I think the biggest thing, I was a people pleaser growing up, right? I
Mm.
was afraid to fail. When you become a people pleaser, you don't want to fail,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to disappoint people because people put you on this pedestal, even if you don't like it. Like as a
Yeah.
kid, like I never even knew what the did people see in me. Like I was literally, that's how like messed up in the head I was. I was like, so what are you seeing me? Like, can you tell me what you see so I can see it? I would have those conversations because I did not believe in myself. I didn't know
Yeah.
who I was, what I wanted to be, or I didn't know why he liked me or she liked me or why I was different and all of these different things. So, you know, I would just I had poor self worth,
Yeah.
and I don't know where that came from. Maybe it's just I didn't get enough hugs or something. So, but as much as people loved and believed in me, I just did not believe in myself. So I would tell myself, I would scream it, like back myself into a corner, grab myself by the shoulders, and be like, believe in yourself, trust me, trust the
Yeah.
process, believe in yourself. Because I didn't have that belief, I was quitting like all the time. If I didn't get the win quick, I was quitting. I don't care if it's a business, a job, or a relationship. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're pissing me off. I'm out of here. I'm quit. I didn't have that work through the problem type of mentality, right? I didn't have that. Let's figure out a way to get this done, right? It's
Yeah.
like if I'd have had this mentality starting P90X, I'd have been, oh, I'm not doing this. After day one, have you done any of Tony Horton stuff? His shit is hard,
Yep.
right? That is
Yeah.
not the easiest stuff to do. And I'm like,
He
how's
is
this
now.
100-year-old dude doing this? First of all, the fact that I won't get into that. That's a whole total thing. I'll be going on my Charles Barkley sometime on the tangents. So I got to stay focused, but I would
Yeah.
definitely tell myself to James, you are worth it. You can do it. Just trust the process and don't quit. Because I was a fucking quitter. So sorry if I'm using all the
No,
wrong
not,
language and
no,
stuff.
no, no, no. I think that that's important because I think that this is a connection that I look forward to on a constant basis. I mean, because I know that you're providing that knowledge and the journey that you have gone through. And I want to tell my audience that this is a person that you want to come to. And if you can tell the audience right now, where can they find you besides Instagram? I know you have a Facebook page. I know you have a YouTube channel. And I know you were working on the podcast, but the main one is Instagram. The main one is your
Yeah.
Facebook page.
There is a couple different ways. YouTube, if you guys want to follow, I'll drop a lot of things on there, a lot of workouts on YouTube. Of course, Instagram. I'm actually doing a slight rebrand from Coach James to Nerf Team, and
Yeah.
that's NERF. That's nutrition, exercise, results, fitness. So that's what the title encompasses. I just wanted to sort of expand um, just the knowledge share. So I wanted to change the name. So I'm working with the team to create that. You can also check me out at nerfteam.com. That's the website that is currently under construction, but it is live and active, so you can check that out.
Awesome.
Yeah, so obviously you can email me at coachjames@nerfteam.com. I'm always open to that, but Instagram has been a big blessing because most people just, when they know you're on here, they just basically DM you. That's like the new email anyway. Like nobody really. I only have like my CEO type people who email me and like, hey, I'd like to do some stuff with you. Everybody else is like, hey, James, in the Instagram like comments or the inbox. So those are the three main ways. So
Okay.
the website,
Uh,
nerfteam.com, Instagram, and YouTube.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate the fact that you came in to chat with me and Fast the Human. It's going to be
Yeah.
available on, like I said, it's a podcast. It's going to be available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all the different ways to be able to reach out. Uh, Mr. Thomas, Mr. James Thomas, thank you so much. I really, really do. It's an honor to me to have you here and to join me to this. And hopefully we'll be able to reach out many more people. And I know for a fact there's a lot of people out there that definitely is gonna check out the podcast and so as the YouTube. And I will have the links for everyone who's watching. I will have the links available on those channels so that way you can be able to connect this gentleman who I'm looking forward to meet him in person because we haven't yet met in person.
Oh my God, man, we need to really connect. We've been knowing each other long enough, right? So, but we talked about technology. That's the beauty of it. So
Yes.
we still can connect. So I appreciate you for having me. First of all, I appreciate you for having the platform,
Yeah.
for sharing your knowledge through Fast and Human. It's really incredible. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's legit, like, out there. So I find it amazing and beautiful because, again, the evolution of Eric, right? You didn't always have a podcast. So I really love the fact that you started the platform. You're brave enough to continue it. Thank you for having me on.
No
I
problem, brother.
appreciate it. So you gotta keep up the good work and keep going, keep growing. That's what I always say.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you. I
All right,
really
man.
thank you so much, and have a blessed. And I know it's really nice out there. So same here in Florida.
It's beautiful. Oh, no doubt.
It's nice.
All right, my
Thank
friend.
you. Thank you.
Take care, man.
All
Yep.
right, bye bye.